Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. In today's video, we're going to explore something really interesting and exciting. So, if you want to find out what you'll learn by staying with us till the end, make sure to watch the whole video. Stay with us, because whatever you might miss could be really important. Let's get started. The year is 2007. It was a time when the world was beginning to feel the first waves of the financial crisis, but there was one thing that continued to move through everyday life largely unnoticed: the humble 1-cent penny. Despite the chaos in global markets and rising economic uncertainties, people continued to toss pennies into jars, tip them at diners, and drop them into vending machines. But what if I told you that buried in some of these seemingly insignificant pennies lies a hidden treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars? That's right, the 2007 US 1-cent penny holds more significance than just being small change. While most pennies from that year are worth only 1 cent, some rare versions have become highly sought-after collector's items, with one even fetching as much as $98,000. Now, you may be wondering, what makes the 2007 penny so special? To answer that question, we first have to take a step back in time and understand the larger context in which this penny was produced, the design changes that were taking place, and the factors that would ultimately make this coin so valuable to collectors. The history of the US penny stretches back to 1793, and over the years, its design has changed many times. But one of the most notable changes came in 1909, when the first Lincoln penny was introduced. Abraham Lincoln's profile became an enduring symbol on the obverse of the penny, and it remained unchanged for nearly a century. For almost 50 years, the reverse of the penny featured an image of the Lincoln Memorial, which was introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design became iconic and was used on pennies for nearly 5 decades, but by 2007, things were about to change. The U.S. Mint, which is responsible for producing American coinage, was preparing for a new phase in U.S. history. In honor of Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday in 2009, the Mint planned a series of design changes to the reverse of the penny. The idea was to commemorate Lincoln's legacy in a way that reflected different stages of his life, from his humble beginnings to his leadership during the Civil War and his enduring legacy as one of the nation's most revered presidents. However, before the new designs of the Lincoln Bicentennial series were introduced, 2007 would mark the final year of the iconic Lincoln Memorial reverse. That's right, 2007 was the last year that the reverse would feature the Lincoln Memorial, making it the final chapter in the penny's long history of design. The year would also be significant because it would mark the end of an era in U.S. coinage. In addition to the design change, the 2007 penny also marked a transition in the composition of the coin itself. For many years, pennies had been made of nearly pure copper, but by the mid-1980s, the rising cost of copper prompted the U.S. Mint to change the alloy used to make pennies. Since then, the penny had been made primarily from a copper-plated zinc core. By 2007, this was the standard composition, and it would remain so for the years that followed. Now, let's focus on the design. While the obverse of the 2007 penny remained the same, with Lincoln's portrait still gracing the front, the reverse of the coin was the last to feature the Lincoln Memorial. This image, which had been on the penny since 1959, had become an enduring symbol of Lincoln's legacy, symbolizing both the man and the monument that honored him. However, in 2007, many collectors and historians saw it as the end of an era. The Mint would replace the Lincoln Memorial design in 2009 with new reverse designs featuring different aspects of Lincoln's life. In many ways, the 2007 penny was a transitional coin, a bridge between two distinct eras in U.S. coinage. But beyond its design and historical context, the 2007 penny would go on to become valuable to collectors for an entirely different reason: the potential for errors. In the world of coin collecting, errors can drastically increase a coin's value. A small mistake in the minting process can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a highly prized and valuable collectible. And the 2007 penny was no exception. Several types of minting errors occurred with this coin, and some of these error pennies are worth far more than their 1-cent face value. One of the most notable errors for the 2007 penny was the 2007 double die obverse. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the design elements, especially the letters and numbers on the coin, to appear doubled. The most common areas where doubling is seen are in the date and Liberty inscription. On a double die obverse penny, you might notice that the word Liberty seems to have two distinct layers of letters, as though they've been struck twice. The doubling effect can also be seen in the date, where the numbers appear to overlap slightly, creating a ghostly effect. Finding a 2007 double die obverse penny in circulation is extremely rare, and it's this rarity that makes these coins so valuable. The more distinct the doubling, the more valuable the coin becomes. In some cases, well-preserved versions of these error coins have sold for tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, a highly graded 2007 double die obverse penny can sell for as much as $98,000. So, what makes these error pennies so valuable? The key is their rarity and the fact that they're considered mistakes. When coins are struck with an error, they're no longer perfect, and for collectors, that imperfection makes them even more appealing. Error coins tell a unique story, one of a mistake made during the minting process, and collectors are often willing to pay a premium for the chance to own such a rare piece of history. If you're lucky enough to find a 2007 penny with noticeable doubling, it's important to have it properly authenticated and graded. Professional coin grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, specialize in assessing the authenticity and condition of coins. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin is. A Mint State 65 or higher graded 2007 double die obverse penny can command top dollar in the market, but even beyond errors, the 2007 penny holds appeal for collectors because of its historical significance. As the last year of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, it represents the final chapter of a legacy that had endured for nearly 50 years. Many collectors seek out 2007 pennies in excellent condition, hoping to find a pristine example of this last year of the memorial design. In addition, the fact that the 2007 penny was produced during a time of transition in U.S. coinage makes it a unique and desirable item for those who collect American currency. So, what's the real value of a 2007 penny? Well, most pennies from 2007 in regular circulation are worth just 1 cent, of course. But for those that feature minting errors like the double die obverse, the value can be astronomical. A rare, well-preserved 2007 double die penny can be worth up to $98,000, depending on its condition and authenticity. But it's not just about the money. For collectors, owning a rare error coin is like holding a piece of history in their hands. It's a reminder of how even the smallest mistakes can lead to the most extraordinary finds. For numismatists, discovering a rare 2007 double die penny is like striking gold. It's a treasure hunt in its purest form. The journey of the 2007 penny is a reminder that sometimes, the most ordinary objects hold the greatest potential for discovery. A single coin, lost in a pile of change, can turn out to be far more valuable than anyone could imagine. So the next time you're going through your spare change or sorting through pennies, remember to take a second look. You might just find the rare treasure that could be worth thousands of dollars, or more. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone who's just starting to explore the world of numismatics, the 2007 penny is a prime example of how coins that seem commonplace on the surface can hold immense value beneath. The fact that a simple penny, once worth only 1 cent, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, depending on its rarity and condition, is a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting. As we've seen, the value of the 2007 double die obverse penny can reach an astounding $98,000. Imagine finding one of these rare pennies in your pocket or at the bottom of a coin jar. It's a thrilling thought, isn't it? So keep your eyes peeled, and remember, the next great numismatic discovery could be just a penny away. The year was 1998, a time when the world was teetering between the promise of a new millennium and the uncertainty of what the future might hold. For most people, 1998 is remembered for the rise of the internet, the dawn of online shopping, and blockbuster movies like Titanic. But for those with an eye for numismatics, coin collecting, the year 1998 was significant for a more understated reason. The 1998 US 1-cent penny. While the penny is often dismissed as mere pocket change, that tiny copper-plated coin actually carries a rich history that goes beyond its value as currency. And the 1998 penny, in particular, is no exception. You see, this seemingly ordinary penny is far more than just a part of your loose change. In fact, some of the rarest 1998 pennies, especially those with unique minting errors, have become incredibly valuable, with one reaching an astounding value of $124,000. Now, you might be asking yourself, what's so special about the 1998 penny? Isn't it just another regular penny? That's exactly where the story begins. To understand what makes the 1998 penny so special, we first have to understand the historical context of U.S. coinage and the changes that were happening during this time. The U.S. 1-cent penny has been around for more than 200 years, but its design has changed several times over the years. The original design, created by James B. Longacre in 1793, featured Lady Liberty on the obverse of the coin, holding a pole and a cap, while the reverse depicted a simple wreath of laurel. This design was soon replaced by a variety of other designs, but one of the most enduring was the Lincoln penny, introduced in 1909 to mark Abraham Lincoln's centennial. This Lincoln penny, with its iconic portrait of the 16th president, became the cornerstone of U.S. coinage and remained largely unchanged for decades. But by the late 20th century, especially in the 1980s and 1990s, the U.S. Mint began experimenting with design changes to commemorate various historical events, anniversaries, and the evolving face of the nation. In 1998, the U.S. penny still bore the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The design had been in place for nearly 90 years, making it one of the most recognizable and enduring designs in U.S. history. On the reverse, the coin featured the familiar Union shield and the words, E pluribus unum, out of many, one, a fitting reminder of the nation's unity. However, 1998 wasn't just another year for pennies. There were notable factors at play during this time that would make certain pennies of this year far more valuable than their face value. Let's dive into the details of the coin's design, minting process, and why it became a prized object for collectors. The obverse design of the 1998 penny remained unchanged from earlier years. On this side, Abraham Lincoln's profile still graced the coin, a tribute to the man who led the United States through its darkest period, the Civil War, and preserved the Union. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, and Lincoln's likeness had been used on the penny since 1909, when it was introduced to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. On the reverse of the 1998 penny, the image of the Lincoln Memorial still stood as the central feature. This reverse design had been in use since 1959, commemorating the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth and honoring his legacy with a depiction of the memorial that was erected in Washington, D.C., in his honor. For decades, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had been an iconic part of American coinage. The structure, with its grand columns and the statue of Lincoln seated within, symbolized the enduring presence of the 16th president in the nation's heart. But while the 1998 penny looked fairly standard at first glance, it was during this time that certain minting errors would occur that would elevate the coin's status among collectors. These errors are a result of mistakes in the minting process and are prized because they are rare, unique, and sometimes incredibly valuable. One of the most famous and sought-after errors from the 1998 penny is the 1998 double die obverse penny. A double die occurs when the design elements on the coin are struck twice, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect. This doubling is most often seen in the inscription around Lincoln's portrait, words like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." The result is a dramatic doubling of the text, giving the coin an unusual and distinctive appearance. The error is not always easy to spot, but when collectors find one of these rare 1998 double-die obverse pennies, it can be worth thousands of dollars. The rarity of these error pennies is what drives their high value. Most coins produced by the U.S. Mint are flawless, but when a coin features a double die, it becomes a one-of-a-kind piece, often considered more valuable than a perfect specimen of the same coin. The 1998 double-die obverse penny is just one example of how minor errors in the minting process can create valuable collector's items. But this is not the only type of error that can be found with the 1998 penny. Other types of errors include off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned on the coin, and clash dies, where the coin is struck by two dies that have not been properly aligned, resulting in overlapping images or text. The presence of these errors, whether they're double dies, off-center strikes, or other variations, are what make the 1998 penny so fascinating for collectors. And if you find one of these coins in excellent condition, you may be holding onto something worth significantly more than just 1 cent. The appeal of the 1998 penny doesn't stop at its design and errors, though. Like all U.S. coins, the 1998 penny is part of the larger history of American numismatics. The year 1998 was one of transition for the U.S. Mint. In the years leading up to the 2000s, coin collectors were beginning to focus more and more on rare, unique, and error coins as the value of these items soared. As more and more pennies from the 1990s entered circulation, they began to accumulate in the hands of collectors who were willing to pay top dollar for specific, rare versions. So, how do we arrive at the impressive value of the 1998 penny? As I've mentioned, there are several factors that determine the value of a coin, including rarity, condition, and error types. A standard, well-circulated 1998 penny might only be worth its face value, just 1 cent. However, when you factor in error coins, like the 1998 double-die obverse penny, the value skyrockets. Coins like this are extremely rare, and when they are found in mint condition, they can fetch incredible amounts at auction. In fact, the highest known sale for a 1998 double-die obverse penny was $124,000. Yes, you read that right, $124,000 for a penny. That's the kind of value that makes even the most seasoned coin collectors sit up and take notice. The appeal of the 1998 penny for collectors is also driven by the fact that the Lincoln Memorial reverse was being phased out in favor of new designs in 2009. This makes the 1998 penny, particularly the error versions, even more significant. It's the end of an era in U.S. coinage, and owning one of these rare, mint-condition pennies is like owning a piece of history. If you're lucky enough to find a 1998 double-die obverse penny or another error coin in your collection, make sure to have it authenticated and graded by a professional service like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. A coin with a high grade, like MS-65 or higher, can fetch an enormous price, especially if it's a rare error. So, to wrap it all up, the 1998 US 1-cent penny may seem like an ordinary coin, but when it comes to rare minting errors, this penny holds hidden treasures. The 1998 double-die obverse penny, in particular, has become a collector's dream, with some examples reaching an astonishing value of $124,000. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your collection, the 1998 penny represents a fascinating chapter in the history of U.S. coinage, one that might lead you to uncover an incredible find worth far more than a single cent. So, next time you go through your change, take a second look at your 1998 pennies. You might just find something far more valuable than you could ever imagine. The year 2000 was a time of significant change and anticipation. The world was stepping into the new millennium, leaving behind the uncertainties of Y2K. People across the globe were excited by the possibilities that the future held, but in the midst of the celebrations and the technological advancements, something small, yet significant, went unnoticed by many: an ordinary coin that would go on to become one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world of numismatics, the 2000 US 1-cent penny. Yes, the humble penny, which people often dismiss as little more than pocket change, holds a fascinating history, and the 2000 penny is a perfect example of how a seemingly insignificant piece of currency can hold tremendous value for collectors. It's easy to overlook such a small coin, but when it comes to rare pennies, especially from a specific year like 2000, there's much more to the story than meets the eye. While most of these pennies are worth just 1 cent, certain variations and minting errors make them highly collectible, and some have sold for as much as $124,000. So what makes the 2000 penny so special? Let's dive in and explore the history and significance behind this coin, as well as why it has become such a prized item for collectors. To understand the 2000 penny, we first need to take a look at the context of US coinage during the late 1990s and early 2000s. The penny, as we know it, has been around for more than 2 centuries, and over the years, its design has undergone several transformations. The most iconic and enduring design was introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Since then, the Lincoln penny has become one of the most recognized coins in the world. Throughout much of the 20th century, the obverse, front, of the penny featured Lincoln's portrait, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. His depiction of Lincoln became a permanent feature on the U.S. penny for nearly a century. On the reverse, back, the penny originally depicted a simple wheat design, known as the wheat ears reverse, until 1959, when the Lincoln Memorial was introduced to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. For decades, this reverse design was an enduring symbol of Lincoln's legacy, honoring his leadership during the Civil War and his role in preserving the Union. By the time the 2000 penny was minted, the Lincoln Memorial design had been in place for over 40 years. However, the year 2000 marked a significant moment in U.S. coinage. It was not just the turn of the century, but also the final year that the Lincoln Memorial design would be featured on the reverse of the penny. In 2009, a new series of reverse designs would be introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, marking the end of an era for the penny. With the penny facing a new century, collectors began to take a renewed interest in the 2000 penny, especially since it marked the last year of the iconic Lincoln Memorial design. But it wasn't just the historical significance of this coin that made it valuable, it was the errors that made certain 2000 pennies highly sought after. Errors are common in the world of coin collecting, and they can occur during the minting process for a variety of reasons. These errors can take many forms, from slight misalignments to major mistakes, and they can dramatically affect a coin's value. A coin that might otherwise be worth only 1 cent can become a rare and highly collectible item if it has a unique error. With the 2000 penny, some of the most valuable examples come from minting mistakes, particularly off-center strikes, double dies, and die cracks. One of the most significant errors associated with the 2000 penny is the 2000 wide AM reverse penny. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is a wide AM penny? Well, most pennies minted in 2000 featured a reverse with the letters A and M in the word America close together. However, a small number of pennies, known as the wide AM reverse pennies, were struck with a wider than normal spacing between the letters A and M. This error occurred because of a misalignment in the die used to strike the coin, creating a distinct gap between the letters that would not appear on a regular penny. The 2000 wide AM penny has become one of the most coveted error coins among collectors. The reason for its value is the rarity of the error. It is believed that only a small number of these coins were produced, and finding one in circulation is extremely rare. When these coins do appear, especially in excellent condition, they can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. The most highly graded versions of the 2000 wide AM penny have been known to sell for as much as $124,000. The value of the 2000 wide AM penny is driven by its rarity, the nature of the error, and the demand from collectors. As with any valuable coin, the condition of the penny plays a significant role in determining its worth. Coins that are well preserved and show little to no signs of wear are always more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. That's why finding a 1999 or 2000 wide AM penny in pristine condition, especially if it's graded as a MS-65 or higher, can result in a windfall for the lucky finder. But the wide AM penny isn't the only rare version of the 2000 penny. There are also double die errors to look out for. A double die occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned or has a flaw, resulting in doubled images on the coin. These errors are often most noticeable in the letters and numbers on the obverse, especially the words Liberty and In God We Trust. A 2000 double die penny can be a valuable find if the doubling is prominent and clearly visible. As with the wide AM penny, finding a double die error in excellent condition can significantly increase its value. While most double die pennies won't fetch as much as a wide AM penny, well-preserved examples can still be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the extent of the doubling and the condition of the coin. In addition to the wide AM and double die errors, another variation of the 2000 penny that has drawn attention from collectors is the off-center strike penny. Off-center strikes occur when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off. These coins are considered errors because the design is incomplete, making them unique and often highly collectible. The 2000 off-center penny can be valuable if the misalignment is substantial and the coin still retains a portion of its original design. These coins are usually less common than other error types, making them even more valuable when found. Collectors often seek out these off-center strikes as a way to add variety to their collections. With all of these possible errors, it's no wonder that the 2000 penny has become a prime target for coin collectors. What makes the 2000 penny so fascinating is that it represents the last year of the Lincoln Memorial design, while also being home to a number of rare and valuable errors that are still being discovered today. Now, let's talk about how to find these valuable coins. For most people, finding a rare 2000 penny might seem like a long shot. After all, most pennies are still being produced and circulated, and the vast majority of them are ordinary coins. However, with a little patience and careful searching, you might come across a 1998 or 2000 wide AM penny, a double die penny, or even an off-center strike penny. If you think you found a rare 2000 penny, it's important to have it properly authenticated and graded. Professional grading services like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, are experts at evaluating the authenticity and condition of coins. Getting your coin graded can help you determine its value and ensure that you're getting the best possible price if you decide to sell it. So, what's the bottom line on the 2000 penny? Well, it's a coin that holds both historical significance and the potential for high value. While most 2000 pennies are worth just 1 cent, the rare error versions of this coin can be worth thousands, and in some cases, as much as $124,000. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual observer, the 2000 penny offers an exciting opportunity to explore the world of coin collecting and discover treasures hidden in your change. JAR.SO. The next time you find a 2000 penny, take a closer look. You might just be holding a rare piece of history, and who knows, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. The year 1977 is often remembered for its cultural landmarks. Star Wars premiered, disco fever was in full swing, and the world was on the brink of the digital age. But for numismatists and coin collectors, 1977 is significant for a more subtle reason: the 1977 US 1-cent penny. You may be thinking, a penny? How exciting can that be? Well, it turns out that this seemingly ordinary coin, which most people overlook on a daily basis, holds a fascinating history and some truly remarkable stories that any collector will appreciate. While most pennies are worth just 1 cent, there's a very special group of 1977 pennies that are worth far, far more, some even reaching an astounding $140,000. Now, you might be asking, what makes the 1977 penny so valuable? After all, it looks like any other penny you might find in your pocket or in your loose change jar. And while many of the 1977 pennies circulating in your local stores or found in change are indeed just regular, run-of-the-mill coins, there's a hidden world of error pennies and rare varieties that have elevated this coin to iconic status among collectors. Let's take a step back and understand the historical context surrounding the 1977 penny. By the late 1970s, the United States was facing inflation and rising production costs, leading to significant changes in how coins were manufactured. The penny, which had once been made primarily of copper, was now being minted using a copper-plated zinc composition due to the rising cost of copper. This change in the penny's metal content was just one of the many adjustments that were being made at the U.S. Mint to cope with economic shifts, but, of course, while the composition of the penny was changing, the design remained much the same. The 1977 penny featured the well-known Lincoln portrait on the obverse, which had been the standard since 1909. Created by Victor David Brenner, this image of Abraham Lincoln has become one of the most iconic and enduring representations of an American leader in coinage history. On the reverse, the coin displayed the familiar Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. For the most part, the 1977 penny was produced with these classic designs, continuing a tradition that had been in place for nearly 70 years. However, as with many coins produced at the U.S. Mint, small variations and errors began to occur during the minting process. These imperfections, while generally viewed as flaws in the production process, have the potential to turn a common penny into a valuable collectible. Now, the 1977 penny wasn't the first to have minting errors, and certainly wouldn't be the last. But this year in particular produced some fascinating errors that have since become highly sought after by collectors. The rarest of these errors are not immediately obvious to the naked eye. Many of the valuable 1977 pennies are those that have unique die errors, off-center strikes, and other mistakes that occurred during the minting process. One of the most coveted errors of the 1977 penny is the double die variety. A double die occurs when the design on the coin is struck more than once, resulting in a doubling effect on the images and inscriptions. This is especially noticeable in the lettering and numbers on the coin. In the case of the 1977 penny, the most common form of doubling can be found in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" on the obverse. If you happen to spot a 1977 penny with this doubling effect, it's a sign that the coin was struck with a double die, making it a rare and valuable error. The double die 1977 penny can be a game changer for a coin collector, as it can significantly increase the coin's value, depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin. A perfectly preserved double die 1977 penny can sell for several $1,000s, while some have been known to fetch higher amounts when graded and auctioned to collectors. Another noteworthy error that has come from the 1977 penny is the off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be struck off the coin's surface. These off-center pennies can feature unique patterns where part of the Lincoln Memorial or Lincoln's portrait is cut off, creating an unusual and rare look. The more pronounced the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. While off-center strikes are often less common, the most interesting aspect of these coins is how the error adds an element of uniqueness to each individual penny. Since each off-center strike is different, it becomes more of a one-of-a-kind piece. Coins with substantial off-center strikes, especially if the error is easily visible, can be worth thousands of dollars. And when found in mint condition, these off-center 1977 pennies can be highly prized by collectors. Perhaps the most fascinating thing about the 1977 penny is that many of these error coins were produced in such small quantities. The nature of the errors means they were not the standard or typical production, and as a result, they were often pulled from circulation or destroyed early in the process. Therefore, finding one of these rare error pennies in your change or in a collection can feel like finding a hidden treasure. Now, let's talk about the condition of the coin, as it plays a huge role in determining its value. As is true with all coins, the condition of a penny significantly affects its price. For a 1977 penny to be worth anything above face value, it needs to be in good condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin that shows no signs of wear or damage. A high-grade 1977 penny with a mint error can fetch a high price, especially if it is still in its original mint state, MS, or close to it. For example, a 1977 penny with a significant double die error could be worth as much as $140,000 if it is in near-perfect condition and graded highly by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. The key is to find a coin that is both rare and in excellent condition, as even a small amount of wear or damage can reduce its value dramatically. But how can you determine if your 1977 penny is one of these rare varieties? It's essential to carefully examine the coin for any minting errors or variations. Take a close look at the obverse and reverse of the penny to check for doubling in the letters or numbers. If you spot any noticeable doubling or misalignment in the design, you may have a valuable error penny on your hands. If you suspect you found a rare 1977 penny, the next step is to have it authenticated and graded by a professional numismatic service. Grading services like PCGS or NGC can determine the coin's authenticity, condition, and grade, giving you an official assessment of its value. Once graded, the coin can be sold at auction, and if it's truly rare and in excellent condition, it could fetch a price much higher than its face value. The 1977 penny is a reminder that rare coins are often hidden in plain sight. What may seem like a simple penny to most people could actually be a small fortune to the right collector. Whether you're just beginning your journey into the world of coin collecting or you're a seasoned veteran, keep an eye out for those rare 1977 pennies. They could very well be worth much more than a single cent. So, the next time you're sorting through your change or flipping through your collection, take a closer look at those pennies from 1977. Who knows, you might just have the coin that could make you $140,000 richer. In 1976, the United States of America was celebrating a monumental milestone, the bicentennial of the American Revolution. It was a year of national pride, patriotism, and reflection, marking 200 years of independence since the Declaration of Independence was signed. The country was gripped by a sense of unity, and everywhere you looked, there were commemorative coins, stamps, and special editions celebrating this historic occasion. But while the nation was focused on the bicentennial celebrations, one coin that may have slipped under the radar for most was the 1976 1-cent penny. This humble piece of currency, which is often dismissed as nothing more than pocket change, carries with it a rich history and a fascinating story, one that has made it a sought-after item in the world of numismatics, with certain variations and errors fetching as much as $142,000. To fully appreciate why the 1976 penny is so special, it's essential to first understand the historical backdrop of the time. In 1976, the U.S. Mint was already in the midst of significant changes, not just to the penny, but to the entire currency system. The early 1970s had brought with them inflation and the rising cost of production for coins. By the end of the decade, many of the metals used in U.S. coinage were becoming more expensive, leading to the decision to change the composition of coins, including the penny. Prior to 1982, the penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, which made it heavier and more expensive to produce. By 1976, however, the U.S. Mint was starting to experiment with other materials, including a copper-plated zinc composition that would eventually be used for pennies after 1982. But that didn't happen immediately, and the 1976 penny was still primarily made from the traditional copper-based alloy. This small detail, combined with the fact that the U.S. Mint was commemorating a historic year, would eventually lead to the 1976 penny becoming a coin of interest to collectors. But what makes the 1976 penny truly unique? Well, part of its charm comes from the design that was used that year, as well as the minting errors that make certain examples highly valuable. The design of the 1976 1-cent penny was largely unchanged from previous years, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, back. This design, created by Victor David Brenner, had been the standard since 1909, making the penny one of the most recognizable coins in the world. But in 1976, there was something a bit more special about the reverse design, as it marked the bicentennial celebration with a unique change to the reverse side of several U.S. coins, including the quarter and half dollar. For the bicentennial quarter and the bicentennial half dollar, the reverse side was redesigned to feature a depiction of the Liberty Bell and a 13-star emblem, symbolizing the original 13 colonies. However, the penny was not part of the bicentennial redesign. Despite this, the year 1976 is still considered a turning point for American coinage, as it set the stage for future redesigns and was an important cultural moment that shaped the future of U.S. currency. So, while the 1976 penny didn't feature a new design for the bicentennial celebrations, it still carried significant historical value. Most importantly, it marked a year when coin collectors would begin to focus more closely on coins from that era, especially pennies that were produced in high volume in the United States. Now, let's talk about minting details. In 1976, the U.S. Mint produced a massive number of 1-cent pennies. The total mintage of 1976 pennies was in the billions, with both Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D mint mark, facilities producing large quantities. Despite the sheer volume of pennies produced, certain minting errors and unique conditions led to a small percentage of coins becoming much more valuable than the rest. The most notable error to emerge from the 1976 1-cent penny is the double die error, specifically the 1976 double die penny. The term double die refers to a minting error where the design on the coin is doubled or shifted due to the die being improperly aligned during the minting process. This error results in doubled lettering and imagery on the coin, which makes it stand out from a normal penny. For example, on the 1976 double die penny, you might notice doubling in the word Liberty or in the date, with some parts of the letters looking slightly shifted or overlapped. This subtle shift in the design is not always immediately visible to the naked eye, but it's one of the key characteristics that collectors look for when evaluating potential valuable coins. If you happen to find a 1976 double die penny, it could be worth thousands of dollars depending on its condition and the intensity of the doubling. These coins are not easy to find in circulation, and those in pristine condition, unusually clean and well preserved, can command extremely high prices at auction. In addition to the double die error, there are other minting anomalies that have been found on 1976 pennies, such as off-center strikes and clashed dies. Off-center strikes happen when the coin is not properly aligned in the minting press, resulting in part of the coin's design being cut off or off-center. This error is visually striking and can make the coin appear unusual and unique. Clash dies occur when the two dies used to strike the coin come into contact with one another without a blank planchet between them, causing an imprint of the opposite die's design to appear on the coin. These types of errors are rarer than the double die penny, but they still carry a significant collector appeal. In fact, coins with dramatic off-center strikes or clash die errors can fetch several $1,000s in auctions, depending on their rarity and condition. Now, you might be asking, what makes these errors so valuable? The answer lies in the rarity of the coin and the demand from collectors. While millions of 1976 pennies were produced, the chances of finding one with a major minting error are extremely low. As a result, these error coins become highly desirable to collectors looking to add something rare and unique to their collections. The rarity, combined with the historical significance of the 1976 bicentennial celebrations, makes the 1976 penny one of the most intriguing and valuable coins to search for. For example, one of the most valuable 1976 pennies in the market today is a double die 1976 penny that sold for an astonishing $142,000 at a coin auction. This sale highlights just how much certain 1976 pennies can be worth, especially if they are in mint condition and have been properly authenticated and graded by professional coin grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. These organizations help determine the grade of a coin, which plays a huge role in determining its value. A coin that is graded MS 65 or higher, with minimal wear and clear details, will command a much higher price than one that is heavily worn or damaged. It's important to note that not all 1976 pennies will fetch these incredible prices. While many are still in circulation, the truly valuable ones are those that have minting errors, are in excellent condition, and are rare enough to be considered valuable by collectors. But if you happen to come across a 1976 penny with significant errors or in pristine condition, you may have discovered a hidden gem worth far more than its face value. So, what should you do if you find a rare 1976 penny? First, examine it carefully. Look for doubling in the date and lettering, check for off-center strikes, or see if there are any clashed die impressions. If you think you found an error penny, the next step is to get it graded by a professional service. A proper grade can increase the coin's value exponentially and give you an accurate estimate of what it could be worth in the market. If the penny passes the test and is deemed a rare error, it could be your ticket to a life-changing sum. The 1976 penny, once considered just a simple piece of pocket change, has turned into a valuable collectible. As more collectors learn about these rare coins, the demand continues to rise, and the value of the 1976 error pennies only increases. In the end, the 1976 US 1-cent penny is a perfect example of how something as ordinary as a coin can carry tremendous historical, cultural, and financial significance. It's a coin that tells the story of the American bicentennial, of changes in coin production, and of the fascinating world of coin collecting. If you're lucky enough to come across one of these rare pennies, you could hold in your hand not just a piece of history, but a potential $142,000 treasure. So, next time you're sifting through your change jar or browsing through your collection, remember the story of the 1976 penny. Keep your eyes peeled for those subtle, yet important, errors, because you might just have a rare treasure that could be worth a lot more than a single cent.